Hi guys, and welcome back to my London Chess Classic recaps. It is actually a couple days after the tournament now. Some of you will know this if you've been watching intently. You've probably been wondering why the round 9 recap hasn't been up. Even my opponent from round 9 emailed me asking why the recap wasn't up. But I really just needed to not think about chess for like 24 hours after the tournament, because just like psychologically, I found it incredibly challenging, and emotionally I found it incredibly challenging. So I'm going to talk about the game first, and then I will talk to you a little bit about my post-tournament thoughts after the recap. But I know you guys are here for the recap, so let's start. I had the white pieces because my opponent defaulted in round 8. He didn't show up, and that was obviously very disappointing, but it happens. And so I was supposed to have the white pieces in round 8, but that game didn't happen, so I have the white pieces in round 9. I've never seen so many defaults at a tournament before. Obviously this is completely out of the hands of the arbiters and the organizers, and it's not their fault at all. But between me and my 2 female friends, we had 4 defaults against us, which is absurdly high. I've been defaulted before once in my life. It's strange, and it's not common at a tournament like this, and so it's very confusing. But yeah, we were all defaulted against. And so white pieces, and I'm playing this guy Michael Ridge, and shout out to Michael. He was actually very friendly throughout the whole tournament. But when I sat down to play round 9, I genuinely had no idea I was playing this guy who had been, you know, chatty and friendly all tournament to like all of the other players, and I was just like surprised because he was so convinced that I'd prepared for him and prepared for this game that I knew exactly who I was playing. I think people massively overestimate how much time I have when I'm doing these recaps, when I'm doing the streaming, and like all of the stuff that goes into all the behind the scenes. It leaves you with very limited time to even just like eat dinner and shower and go to bed, let alone preparation as well. So yeah, I had no idea who I was playing. And so like when I sat down, I had like looked briefly at his tournament games, and I had very briefly prepared something, but then he played something else. So I had prepared against the Philidor, and he didn't play the Philidor. When I say prepared against the Philidor, I had looked at like one thing. It's not like I spent hours preparing. I'm not going to give away what my preparation is, because I'm sure I will see it maybe even in the next tournament. I saw a Philidor in the last tournament for a not very good opening. It's not that uncommon. So I'm not going to leak my Philidor prep, but my opponent played the Sicilian, and right now I'm playing the closed Sicilian. I completely forgot what I was supposed to do here in my repertoire, because I've never played against this move order. Recurring theme, obviously, because this happened again where I didn't know my preparation earlier in the tournament, but like I don't spend time preparing, and I don't spend time on openings, and so obviously I have gaps in my knowledge. And actually when I spoke to my coach after the game, he was like, yeah, we looked at this very, very briefly, like incredibly briefly. We did have something which I'm also not going to share with you guys, because it's very tiring having everybody know what I play. So I would rather keep some secrets for my next tournament. But I basically just completely forgot what I was supposed to do and played knight f3, which is not what I was supposed to do, because now we're just going to be in a mainline dragon after takes and takes or something. Like this is some kind of dragon-y something. I don't know what it is, because I've never played this in my life. So I don't know if this is like an open Sicilian. Yeah, open accelerated dragon. I'm sure my opponent has probably had this position on the board like hundreds of times online and many times in classical. I've never faced this position from either side in my life. So good start. And so basically I'm just trying to play like a normal position. I want my bishop here. I don't want knight g4, but apparently knight g4 is fine, and then like I can take and then they can take in the middle. And there's like a famous game where that happened. One of my friends told me this, that after like, I don't even remember what move, like say some like random move, like there was a game where like this happened, I think. Obviously not after that random move. I don't know any of this because I've never played the Sicilian or the open Sicilian in my life. So I was just like, okay, well, I'm just going to stop the knight coming from here. I don't want any tactics and castles. And so I played knight b3, which is apparently the top engine move. I wanted to play queen d2. Apparently the problem with queen d2 is d5. I didn't know this. After queen d2, I was like, well, what if he just takes? And then now, you know, I'm never gonna, like, why is my queen on d2? Like, my bishop isn't coming up here. I just don't know why I bothered putting my queen on d2. Apparently this is just nice and I'm +1. Like, my position is fine, but like, I didn't know that, you know. So I played knight b3, which is apparently a good move, not for the reasons I thought it was a good move. So this is another one of those games that's making me believe I don't understand anything. And then after d6, I play queen g2, so I don't know if I'm meant to try and get rid of the bishop or not. And then here I meant to castle. But what I was afraid of castles was this, because apparently the only good move is c takes. As somebody who's never played this, like, this looks very scary, having the this is how the king moves, having the king here and like king b1, but also I'm just a bit spooked. And like looking at it now, yeah, this seems fine. I didn't know that this was what I was supposed to do, and so like it would feel much more natural to somebody who doesn't play this ever to play a takes, which is what I was mainly looking at. But there are problems with a takes, like knight b4, and then the queen wants to come here, and this looks bad for me, which is why I didn't play into this, because I thought this looked bad. And yeah, I can play king b1, but it still looks very scary. Like there's either queen a5 or whatever. So I didn't castle here, and instead I got rid of the bishop, but I wasn't supposed to get rid of the bishop. Apparently my commentator was saying that I went for entirely the wrong plan, unfortunately. And here again I'm supposed to castle, but I was just afraid. So I played this bad move. Basically, I thought that this move would just prevent any problems on the queen side, and then I could just castle. But apparently bishop takes is just fine for black, and then whatever, I finally castled here. But yeah, I took my time castling because, I mean, here it also just looks scary. I'm not a Sicilian player, okay? I'm not cut out for playing these positions from either side. So I just completely played everything wrong. Nothing is thematic. Nothing was what I was supposed to do. And I castled. And here apparently I should play king b1, but I tried to trade off the queens. I didn't know that apparently like these Sicilian endgames are good for black. That this is what like 5 people told me afterwards, that like, oh yeah, these endgames are just fun, like nice for black. Okay, again, didn't know this, zero experience. Okay, so this is like a little bit annoying after this move a3, because obviously if I take, then takes and rook takes, and this looks completely lost because my pawn structure. So I have to be a little bit careful over here now after this a pawn push. And I think that I wasn't too worried about this a pawn push because I had completely neglected that a3 was like possible. And as you can see, I have 21 minutes on the clock. And so in this game, everybody criticized my time management. Everybody criticized my time management throughout the entire tournament. Okay, I know it was bad, but when you're playing multiple positions for the first time in your life, your time management isn't going to be as good as somebody who's played 100 or more than 100 Sicilian dragon positions from one of the two sides of it. This is one of the extremely like fatiguing, tiring, depressing, demotivating things about sharing all of these games, is that literally everybody is a fucking critic and everybody gives their opinion whether or not it's asked for. And even people who are helping me are just also tearing me down at a lot of points. Or people who are supposed to be helping me are then taking it as a fun opportunity to tear me down. I mean, like, I have relatively realistic expectations. I don't expect to play this position as well as my opponent does. My opponent has much more experience than me. I messed up my prep. I didn't remember. But like, I think any criticism that somebody gives you as a chess player, if you are as like self-aware as you have to be as a content creator, because you're literally putting everything in the public eye, no criticism anybody says is anything new that I haven't already thought of myself. There's no new criticism that you could comment on this that I haven't already thought of. And so, okay, we have a not very good position, but whatever, it's equal. I thought that actually I played all of this part quite well. Like, none of this was bad. And then my problem here was that I didn't trade off the rooks. So here I'm down to 10 minutes. I've played the last like 10 moves pretty well. Yeah, here I considered rook c3 and trading off the rooks. When I didn't do that, I immediately regretted it. But actually this is nowhere near as simple as it looks, because here there's b5. And if we go for a4 and king e5 and a5, now apparently I have to, like, this is how I have to play this position, and this is like not super straightforward because I actually can't push this, or the king can go and get it. Like, this is just lost. Anyway, they're gonna go and grab the pawn, and then I have no counterplay. So I actually can't ever move my passed pawn in these positions, and I just have to like defend on this side. So I actually think that like I was maybe too critical of myself about not having played this rook trade, because really there's like rook d7. I think white is very happy that the rook d7 is played here, because I can just play a4 and at least I have some ideas. But here what I played was just a4 first, and then after h takes, the problem is that there's rook c4. Apparently g5 is best, and like this is kind of good for me, apparently, like equal for me. But I played rook f3 check, king g7, and now it's -1. I didn't realize it was -1 because I honestly thought that like forcing the king back to g7 felt kind of like good for me. Like even if I gave up this pawn, I thought that I was doing something on this side with creating a passed pawn, but I'm not doing anything on this side with creating a passed pawn. And I should have played b5 apparently, or something. I don't know. No, it doesn't like any of the moves. Okay, I'm just worse. Anyway, I just decided to try and create my passed pawn because that's all I can do in this position. And as you can see, I am playing on increment at this point because I wasted a lot of time trying to think and trying to use my brain. Very foolish behavior. Why would I do that? And here I played b5 because I was about to flag, and I played it with not very much time. I thought about a6, but then I thought that maybe like this wasn't good because this pawn is never gonna, it's not gonna happen for me, and this pawn is gonna run. So I thought maybe I could play b6 and then I could like push this later. I don't know. And here I have to be able to get my rook back to rook c1. And like here I still didn't realize that it was like -6. I think if you're playing this, you don't realize it's -6. We reached move 40 here, and I made time control. And then I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to not lose this position. And I didn't realize it was -6, so I didn't realize there was no way to not lose this position. Anyway, rook g8. And here I should have, I think, played b7 because I wasted time. Like I played rook here and then rook back. Because I thought this was my best chance if we both promoted, because there are lots of problems. Like if we ever take, I want you guys to know that like this is never possible because they check and they pick up the queen and then they have the passes and I lose. So I like there's no possibilities here unless black makes a big mistake. But I thought that keeping as many pieces on was the best choice. And so we have this very fun position where we both promote that all the things are hanging. Rook takes and then rook takes. And now, yes, I'm dead lost, but I still have a rook, which is good. I just have to try to get some kind of like play here. And my opponent misplayed it, okay? I'm not trying to be rude, but he really didn't go about this the right way, and he knows this. He probably should have played I don't know, e6 or e5 or something, because my king is completely cut off, so my king doesn't have many choices. But he played this way and it let my king get back in. Actually, I'm now drawing. And so this game was a complete emotional roller coaster because I knew that I was worse and like losing. Like dealing with the fact that maybe you then have another chance to draw is honestly so heart-wrenching because it's also just not an easy position to draw at all, especially because I have 1 minute again. Time management, thank you. And here, okay, I apparently should have played rook g1, but like there are multiple moves to draw this, and rook e6 is one of them. My goal is just to give checks, right? Give checks, give as many checks as possible because they can't push the pawn if we give the checks. Now we're in a difficult position because there's only one drawing move. And as you can see, I have the mighty 58 seconds to find the one drawing move. So what I want is I want my rook to be able to access e6, and I want my rook to be able to access g6. Oh, not that, obviously not that move. Because then when the king comes out, I can continue to check. I can't take the pawn because if we trade rooks, then they promote, and I'm just dead lost. And I obviously can't play like rook back because then I wouldn't be able to check on e8. Same with rook forwards, then I can't check on e5. So it seems like the rook has to stay on this file, except the rook can't move. And so apparently the only move here is king d7, and I have to play for king c6, like if the rook moves or whatever. Like if this I play for this. And I don't know, I come over here and attack the rook. And the point, I guess, is that the king can't move because of the checks. I see the idea that the rook has to stay on f6 no matter what. And yes, this idea is probably useful for future games, but I did not find this idea with my 58 seconds, and unfortunately I played rook g6. It says I have 43 seconds. You have to remember that we get 30 seconds increments, so I used most of my time, all but 10 seconds, to try and find the move, and I didn't, and I don't think I would have, and if I did, it would have been completely by luck and chance. But yeah, here I saw rook a7 was bad, and I have to come back, otherwise, again, can't give the checks. Still trying to give the checks. But now, like, I literally have no chances. He takes my pawn, I continue to try and check him, but like now I have literally nothing. And you can just maneuver the rook such that it covers any checks I give. So I resigned here because like anything I do, they're just gonna play rook e1, or like it really, like there's literally nothing I can do, you know, just king e2 now and it's GG. So I resigned. This game took 5 hours. We were one of the last ones to finish of the day, and I fought back from a dead lost position into an opening that I almost drew, which, you know, is good resilience, and I think that kind of stubbornness, and yeah, I was very stubborn, at least, but I was also just tired and forgot my opening, and I've been here for like 10 days at this point, and it's a long tournament, and I also had the problem of knowing that I was in contention for a women's prize. I think if I'd won this game, I would have either tied for first or got second or something for the women's prize, and if I'd drawn this game, maybe I would have tied for second, maybe I would have lost on tiebreak, I don't know, but losing this game means I got no prize. Obviously not the biggest deal in the world, but like I've never been in contention for an individual prize before. Like at the Olympiad, our team lost out on a medal in our section by tie breaks. So in the Olympiad, each group of countries has sections with section medals. We just lost out on one there, but it was a group event, so I didn't feel pressure because, you know, it's up to all of us to try and win it. But I guess it probably didn't help knowing that there was a possibility of that, and I also felt kind of like I didn't earn it anyway because I got defaulted against, but then also some of the other girls in contention for the prize also got defaulted against, and then some of them didn't. And I think the 2 women who won the prize like earned well, we would have all earned the prize. I think they all took buys. I think we all had other points anyway. I didn't really like want to do this recap because I literally just was out of book from so early on, and I know that I didn't manage my time well, but this is what happens when you're trying to understand a position for the first time in like a very important game. And people have been incredibly critical this tournament of my like opening knowledge and my general skill level, and I think that the whole point when I started making content, and the whole point throughout, has never been, look at me, I'm such a good chess player, like, because obviously that has never been the point. I started making chess content when I was 600 rated on chess.com, and the whole point has always been showcasing every stage of a journey of actually just playing this game. I've never had a goal to become a grandmaster. I've never had you know, a tough training routine. Like, I've never done any of these things, and I've never purported to do any of these things, and I've never tried to present myself in that way. So I think that a lot of the criticism that I'm getting is just really missing the point of all of the content that I make, because like it was never that. So I'm making this recap partly because my opponent emailed me asking me what the recap was, and partly because I know you guys would want the recap, and partly because I just wanted to give you guys my feelings after this tournament. And I am in my pajamas right now, and I might be coming down with a cold, and I'm very tired. I want to start by saying that the organizers for this tournament were amazing, and they all were very accommodating and made me feel very welcome. I want to say that I met a couple of really nice people. I want to say that this is also probably the most hostility I've ever faced at a tournament, whether it be online or just like some disrespectful behavior from people. And it's my first tournament I've ever played in England, and this is probably going to piss a lot of people off when I say it, but I think that this country has a lot of chess elitism compared to other countries I've played chess in. And other countries I've played chess in, the general like majority seem to be very like positive about streaming and online chess. And I think there's only been one time when I've heard like an offhand comment about streamers cheating or some absolute nonsense, because I've never seen a streamer cheat. Yeah, it's just, there's been like an amount of hostility that I wasn't expecting there to be. But then I always forget that I've entered this game so late in December 2020, and that for me, the idea of chess going hand in hand with the internet is completely natural. And I never really think about the fact that there are people who have been playing chess for 40 plus years in this country or anywhere in the world, where they think of it as being completely absurd. And so we have a completely different context and background for it. And I do try to be understanding of the other perspective, but I actually think that the other perspective holds chess back. And I think that if chess wasn't online, and I think if there weren't chess streamers, and I think if chess.com and you know, all of the online chess world didn't exist, chess would be so much worse off for it. It's very difficult to be understanding of a perspective that is against the development and evolution of chess, because I also think it brings it to a wider audience, and I think that online chess has helped to democratize chess and make it accessible to all, which I think can only be a good thing. So it's been an interesting tournament. Again, I feel very privileged to have played it. The organizers were amazing, and I played it with my good friend Caitlin, and we had a great time together. We had so much fun, but it's been an incredibly mixed experience on other levels, and not even on my performance, because I end with 4.5 out of 9, which is not at all a bad performance. No one could convince me that that's a bad performance, even if I got defaulted against, because I can only play the games that I'm given. I was unlucky with the pairings to have 2 unrated players. I can only play the games that I'm given, and I think that in general, if you play fewer than 100 over the board rated games a year, then you are very vulnerable to this kind of just like ratings and pairing luck. Oh my god, there's a huge squirrel outside. Like, there's an enormous squirrel outside right now. I thought it was a cat. There are several grey cats in this area, but an enormous squirrel. Anyway, I think that streaming these events is very fun, and is also a privilege to be in the position where I can bring my camera and share this all with you. But I think people massively underestimate how many layers of stress it adds to it, and not just from the perspective of people watching you play your chess live, which is something that puts pressure. The constant thing of like always having something to do, like whether it's filming a recap or preparing for something else, or like working on some kind of content, you know, like it's not, you don't just come and play a chess game and leave like everybody else does. I think I'm probably not going to play any more over the board tournaments for a little while, because I'm not sure I enjoy competing. Like, I love classical chess. I love the time that it gives me to actually think about a chess game, and I think that I learn so much more from playing classical tournaments than from anything else, than from chessable courses or books or lessons. Just personally, I think for me, playing classical chess is the way I have improved the most in the past. And so I love that about it, but I find it so emotionally draining. And I think that like, well, what people say, you know, is that obviously that's a good thing, because it means you care, and you wouldn't be so invested, and you wouldn't feel so much for it if you didn't care. And then if you didn't care, it wouldn't be so good, because then why are you doing it in the first place? But I think maybe I just care too much. Anyway, I'm currently in my pajamas. I leave London tomorrow. I go home to Paris, and then it's almost Christmas, so I'm looking forward to having some time to reflect and think about this. And I just wanted to thank everybody who has followed along, and everybody who has been supportive whilst following along. I want to thank my editor, Adriana Palau, and I want to thank Caitlin for coming to this tournament with me, and all of the lovely people that I've met here and the organizers for putting on such a great event. The next video you guys see from me will almost certainly be when I'm back in Paris, so I'll see you then. And please like and subscribe if you enjoyed any of this content. And if you haven't already, I will see you next time. Bye guys.